Hi everyone, this is Peggy. Welcome to this week's video. This week I'm turning an African Padauk bowl with Milliput Inlay around the rim. Here I'm finding center and marking the edges, which I'll cut off on the bandsaw in a moment, and drilling a hole for the woodworm screw. And the worm screw will go in the 4-jawed chuck and mounted up on the lathe here, and beginning to flatten the face and make it round. And after watching this, I'm thinking that I probably should have stopped and taken it back over to the bandsaw and taken off more of those corners. I was having a hard time turning the corner with the bowl gouge, and then coming up on it this way with the bowl gouge was not the easiest thing, but I got it eventually. I stopped and sharpened the bowl gouge probably throughout this whole turning about less than 10, but probably 7 or 8 times. You see me looking at my hand there. A piece came off and hit my hand, so putting a thin glove on here. And after it's completely round, I move the banjo so I can make the round over on the corner and then make the foot. And that's a sharpenable gouge. See all that stuff flying. If I could have chosen a messier project, I don't know what it would be, because this was pretty messy. Between the Padauk and the Milliput, Milliput isn't messy until you start turning it off a bowl or a platter, and then it gets all the fine dust, as you'll see in a little bit here. A little bit of slow-mo action for you. Turning that corner. And here's the skew chisel to flatten the bottom where the foot will be. Back with the bowl gouge a little bit, trying to make the area where I'll put the foot with the diamond parting tool, making the recess in the bottom. And a little bit of a more close-up here, turning in the corner with the newly sharpened bowl gouge to get the exact shape that I want. I wanted a basic bowl, but I wanted to have some soft corners. So I used push and pull cuts here and some shear scraping. Here's the skew chisel, and back with the bowl gouge here to try to make a couple final passes to finalize the shape. Grab the skew chisel here and making the recess around the rim for where I will put the Milliput. Here are the two colors I'm using. I'm using turquoise blue and superfine white. And if you haven't tried Milliput, I do have links to the product in the video description. Basically, they come in tubes like this, and in the package you smush the two together until they're one color, and usually takes about 5 minutes. And the way I do it is I roll them out. If I were going to use one color, I would just roll that one color out and smush it in, put it in very tight in the area that you've made on your bowl or platter or whatever. Let it sit for 24 hours and then you can turn it off. I wasn't going for any specific pattern here, just a mixture of the turquoise and the white for a random pattern. And here it is the next day, and I'm going to use an Easy Wood tool, negative rake, to take off most of the Milliput. I did have the dust collector and the air filter on, but it still gets everywhere. Still with the Easy Wood tool, negative rake. It looks like it snowed in the shop there. Skew chisel to finalize the Milliput shape, and I don't film all the sanding, but I did power sand from 80 to 400 grit with a little bit of hand sanding here and there to get some tough spots. Denatured alcohol to clean the surface, and it's exciting to see what the finish is going to look like. Preparing to put some sanding sealer on here. What I'm doing there is wiping the Milliput to make sure none of the orangish red seeped in, to try to make it remain crisp with the turquoise and white. Scotch-Brite pad, and now with the Axe abrasive paste. After the paste, I'll use the Axe polish. There is a link to the Axe product in the video description. Also, if you use code PF10, you will get 10% off of your Axe order. Thank you, Axe. And the polishing paste. I mean, look at that shine. You can't really beat it. Now it's reversed in the 4-jawed chuck, and I will start the process of hollowing it out. This is where I wish I had a bowl saver, because any wood that you buy at, a Rockler or Woodcraft, it's not exactly cheap if you get a decent piece, and Padauk is not cheap, so I feel like it's a shame to turn it all away, but I'm gonna have to invest in a bowl saver. Maybe Santa will bring me one. I'll put it on my list. Change the angle of the tool rest and working on rounding those corners and getting the inside shape nice and aesthetically where I want it. Almost done finalizing the shape here, feeling for the thickness and making some final passes with the bowl gouge. The idea here for this bowl was it to be a substantial bowl, not too thin, not ultra thick or anything, just a substantial bowl that will, could be a fruit bowl or a centerpiece with pine cones in it, etc. So power sanding, again, the inside I went from 80 to 400 grit, just like the outside. And some sanding sealer here. I used one coat. I didn't mention that before, but I just used one coat. And over the one coat, after that dried, I'm using the Axe abrasive paste Just the same process as on the outside. And buffing that in with a Scotch-Brite pad, and then buffing a little bit with a paper towel, and moving on to the Axe polishing paste. Making sure I don't miss any spots, and rubbing that in and buffing it off. It always amazes me when I see that shine, even when I watch it back. Taking it off the 4-jaw chuck, you get a little bit closer look here. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Trying to show you the Milliput pattern there a little bit closer. And there you have it. I have some pictures here in a second. Here you go. And I wanted to thank everyone for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and give a thumbs up. Giving a thumbs up and sharing it on your social media will help my channel tremendously. It'll let YouTube know that they can put it in front of other people who might like it. So thanks again. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next week. Peace out.